Hello, my name is Christopher Scott. Thank you for joining me for another Basics of the Bible video. In this video, we're going to look at the book of Esther. The book of Esther. If you're new to joining me with these videos, there are 75 videos in the Basics of the Bible series. In the description down there is a link to the playlist where you can watch all 75 here on YouTube for free. So thanks for joining me. So the book of Esther is about preserving. That's the one-word description for Esther, preserving. And Esther is the last of the historical books. So I have a link up there to an introduction to the 12 historical books of the Old Testament. And there are different groups of books in the Old Testament. So let's start by reviewing the entire Bible together, I guess. Let's do that first. So there are 66 books in the Bible. There's 39 in the Old Testament, 27 in the New Testament. And out of those 39 in the Old Testament, there are 5 books of Moses, 12 historical books, 5 wisdom books, 5 major prophets, and 12 minor prophets. And so those 12 books of history is what Esther is part of. Esther is the last of those 12 historical books. So Esther, the one-word description I shared with you is preserving. Similar to the book of Ruth, Esther describes the heritage and continuation of the Jewish people. Esther tells the amazing story, one story that's guided by God, that allowed one Jewish woman to be divinely appointed as queen in Persia. And as queen, she was able to save the Jewish race from certain extinction. That's the book of Esther. The key verse of Esther is, I believe, Esther 4:14, where Esther is queen in Persia. There has been introduced this conflict that is going to occur and this persecution of the Jewish people that Haman has been creating. And so Esther is talking with some people, trying to get some answers, and she's talking with Mordecai here about what she should do. And this is what Mordecai says to her. For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance will arise for the Jews from another place, and you and your father's house will perish. And who knows whether you have not attained royalty for such a time as this. For such a time as this, God has placed Esther as queen in Persia so that she could protect the Jews and provide a way for them to be saved. And if you're not familiar with the story, Haman approaches the king and he talks about these Jewish people and how they all need to be exterminated and killed. And he gets the king to approve permission to kill the Jews. And Esther is the queen in Persia, but nobody knows that she is a Jew. So she has to intervene and prevent the Jews from being killed. Let's talk about some of the technical details of the book. The author of Esther is unknown, but possibly was Mordecai. We don't know who wrote the book of Esther, but could be Mordecai. Some people say Ezra as well. Maybe. We don't know. The audience is obviously written to the Jewish believers in Persia and possibly Judah to remind them of God's faithfulness and God's promises to them. The date that it was written, maybe 465 BC, somewhere in there roughly, but the dates and the events in the book only cover about 4 or 5 years. So it's 478 BC to 474 BC. It's really only those 4 years that are discussed within the book. The key verse is Ezra 4:14 that I shared with you. And the outline that I've created for the book, I divided the book into 3 sections in my outline. Section 1 is the promotion of Esther, chapters 1 and 2. Esther gets promoted to queen in Persia. Then chapters 3 through 7 is the persecution of the Jews. Persecution of the Jews, chapters 3 through 7. And then the protection of God, chapters 8 through 10. So there's the promotion of Esther, there's the persecution of the Jews, and then there's the protection of God. So I hope that makes sense to you for an outline there. So that's my brief introduction to the book of Esther. It's an amazing story. There is an interesting discussion that sometimes occurs in Bible circles, Bible scholars. Ezra, Book of Esther, sometimes people question whether or not it should be in the Bible for a couple of reasons. One, the name of God is never mentioned in it. Two, it seems a little pagan and a little kind of contemporary, and it doesn't seem very religious. It doesn't seem very Jewish-like, naturally. And also, there's the discovery that occurred in the Dead Sea Scrolls, those discoveries that occurred in Qumran, where they found all these ancient scrolls and they found all the books of the Bible in these caves that were stored and hidden away in these caves. They found the entire Old Testament in there, of every book of the Old Testament except for the book of Esther. Surprisingly, they never found in those caves. So that's another reason. Sometimes scholars debate whether or not it should be included in the Bible for those three reasons, but it's in there, we study it, and we see why it's in there. And if it's in there, I believe it should be, and that God would organize that process accordingly. So that's our basic introduction to the book of Esther. My name's Christopher Scott. Thanks for watching this video. If you found this video helpful, I'd love to have you subscribe to my monthly email newsletter. I promised I send you only one email a month. There is a link down there in the first comment on this video. You can subscribe, and I send an email out on the first Monday of the month where I give you links to the articles that I had published the previous month in magazines, and I give you links to these YouTube videos that I create each week. So thanks again for watching. Hope to catch you again soon on another video.